Our last chapter ended with Momo seeing a small creature watching them from a bookshelf. Will we discover in this chapter what that creature really was? Or will Momo finally find out how to return to normal? Let's find out. We continue the story in chapter 167 titled Hey, There's Something There, where Momo is curiously looking at the small creature she saw. However, when it noticed her, it quickly hid, which made her shout, and she tried to get Okarun's attention to show him what she had seen. She told him to chase it, but Okarun confusedly asked her what she was referring to. So she explained that she saw a small old man there, which caught Okarun's attention. He suddenly became concerned and asked if what she saw was the famous cryptid. And when she heard Okarun say it was a cryptid, she thought it might be a fairy. Because of what she said, Okarun also became energized in searching, and while looking for it, Momo explained that this was a guy that many celebrities claimed to have seen, and now that she was small, this might be the reason why she could see fairies. She also thought that what happened to her now, becoming small, might have also happened to that old man. In the middle of their search, the school bell suddenly rang indicating that their break was over, which disappointed Momo. In response, she decided to stay inside the library to look for the old man. So while Okarun was putting her down, he worriedly asked if she was sure because she would be alone, to which Momo said she would be okay, but Okarun still felt he didn't like it. Momo acted cute with Okarun and happily said she wouldn't wander around too much, and teasingly asked if he was worried about her, to which Okarun replied that he was extremely worried about her. On the other hand, Sakata shouted at Okarun to hurry up because gym class was their next destination, while Ira was asking Momo what her plan was and if she wanted to come with her. So Gigi interrupted and asked why Momo would go with her when she could come with him instead. And while all this was happening, Vamola was just happily calling Momo's name. Momo told them that she would stay in the library because she had something to check, but thanked them both for their offer. Before leaving, Okarun told Momo not to wander around too much, to which Momo happily replied that he could count on that and they would meet again later. After that, Sakata ran while rushing them and said they would reassemble here during the next break, and he hyped their historical culture research club forward, which made Ira comment that the name was lame so he should change it, while Gigi playfully said that's what he liked, lively. While watching her friends leave, Momo smiled and commented that it was nice to see her friends happy, and she hoped she would return to normal soon. In the next scene, we went to their school sports field, and here their PE teacher was explaining to Okarun that today the boys would have a physical fitness test. They would start with the 50-meter run, and they would be timed by the physical ed committee and would run in pairs. After that, they stood on the other side of their makeshift 50-meter run track, and while Okarun was looking around, he thought about how Momo was doing and said she was always too rash. He started to fidget due to excessive worry, and his worrying was suddenly interrupted when Sakata called him Private First Class Takakura and explained that he could call him Major, and incidentally, he was in bad form, which made Okarun wonder why. Sakata explained that his old leg injury was giving him trouble and he wouldn't be able to run fast, so Okarun asked how, when he ran so well just a while back, and Sakata added that he could only use 10% of his maximum speed there. He also asked Okarun what his fastest time was for the 50-meter run, so Okarun scratched his head because he wasn't sure, and he hadn't timed it since junior high, so he just answered that his fastest was about 9 seconds. Because of his answer, Sakata suddenly became energized and shouted that he had a chance to win there, but he quickly regained his composure and invited Okarun to run with him, saying there was nothing to worry about because he could only run at 10% of his speed, which left Okarun speechless, and just as he was about to reply that it was okay, someone suddenly called him, making them turn around. It turned out that the one who called Okarun was the guy who bullied him before, and he invited him to run with him instead. Okarun remembered how this person treated him before, and just as he was about to object, the guy added that it would be cool, so he should just agree. Their female classmates started cheering for this guy, and it turned out his name was Hase. Their teacher, who looked like Taguro, stopped the girls and told them to get into the gym, which made Okarun fall silent. When their teacher Taguro called for volunteers again, Hase raised his hand and said he and Okarun would be next. Hase invited Okarun to go to the starting line, So he tried to reason that Sakata was supposed to be his partner, but before he could say it, Hase suddenly shouted at Sakata and asked if what he wanted was okay with him, to which Sakata immediately agreed, bewildering Okarun. Hase suddenly informed Okarun that his speed was about 6 seconds, which made Okarun speechless and think that if that was the case, shouldn't the one Hase was inviting be faster than him? The two prepared to run, and when their teacher blew the whistle, to everyone's surprise, Okarun overtook the arrogant Hase, and both of their shock was visible. The Phys Ed committee was amazed at Okarun's speed, and his time was 5.8 seconds, which his classmates couldn't believe. They asked if Sakata knew that Okarun was this fast, while Sakata was sweating nervously and thought that it was good he didn't run with Okarun and that he had been lying earlier. While catching his breath, Okarun couldn't believe it himself either. Next, they tested their throwing capability in the handball throw. When one of Okarun's classmates threw the handball, it reached 15 meters, and when it was Okarun's turn, he looked like a child who had wandered in from somewhere, but Okarun still prepared while thinking how big this ball was and how he should throw it. When Okarun wound up and threw it, to everyone's surprise, it reached a distance of 35 meters, which amazed his classmates again. After that, they tested the standing long jump, and here Okarun managed to jump 3.6 meters. In the sidestep test, Okarun also showed speed in changing positions, and he managed to repeat this maneuver 80 times. Next, they tested their footwork skills in the shuttle run, and here Okarun managed to return to the starting point 120 times. The difference between Okarun and his classmates was clearly visible when they were out of breath, and Hase commented about what was up with Okarun as he seemed like a pro athlete, while the exhausted Sakata replied that Okarun had become a monster based on his performance in their fitness test. While Okarun was resting after his shuttle run, he was suddenly called by Taguro, his PE teacher, and praised him, which he tried to brush off. He also asked which club he was in, so he said he was a member of the Historical Culture Research Club. Because of this, his teacher was speechless and asked what that was and said he hadn't heard of it before, so he explained that it was fairly new. After that, before his teacher left, he told him that he should visit the baseball team practice, and he gathered the students. Okarun bowed his head and looked at his feet while thinking that he no longer had Turbo Granny's powers, so he wondered how he managed to do all of that. He suddenly remembered his training under Seiko, Turbo Granny's advice on how to use his powers, and even their running with Momo while being chased by the crab-bound spirit. While remembering this, he asked himself when he had become this fit. And there you have it. You would really wonder because he no longer has Turbo Granny's powers, but his fitness still seems above average. It makes you think if there was any residue of Turbo Granny's powers left in his body, or maybe Okarun's body really just improved because of everything he went through.